She could not learn languages and was too self-conscious ever to become somebody else. For a moment Molly had even looked like Mother Sugar, otherwise Mrs. Marks, to whom both had gone for psychoanalysis. The reservations both had felt about the solemn and painful ritual were expressed by the pet name Mother Sugar, which, as time passed, became a name for much more than a person, and indicated a whole way of looking at life, traditional, rooted, conservative, in spite of its scandalous familiarity with everything amoral. In spite of. That was how Anna and Molly, discussing the ritual, had felt it. Recently Anna had been feeling more and more it was because of, and this was one of the things she was looking forward to discussing with her friend. But now Molly, reacting as she had often done in the past to the slightest suggestion of a criticism from Anna of Mother Sugar, said quickly, "All the same, she was wonderful, and I was in much too bad a shape to criticize. Mother Sugar used to say, 'You're Electra,' or 'You're Antigone,' and that was the end as far as she was concerned," said Anna. "Well, not quite the end," said Molly, wryly insisting on the painful probing hours both had spent. "Yes," said Anna, unexpectedly insisting, so that Molly for the third time looked at her curiously. "Yes. Oh, I'm not saying she didn't do me all the good in the world. I'm sure I'd never have coped with what I'd had to cope with without her. But all the same. I remember quite clearly one afternoon sitting there, the big room, the discreet wall lights, and the Buddha and the pictures and the statues." "Well," said Molly, now very critical. Anna, in the face of this unspoken but clear determination not to discuss it, said, "I've been thinking about it all during the last few months. No, I want to talk about it with you. After all, we both went through it, and with the same person." "Well?" Anna persisted, "I remember that afternoon, knowing I'd never go back. It was all that damned art all over the place." Molly drew in her breath, sharp. She said quickly, "I don't know what you mean." As Anna did not reply, she said, accusing, "And have you written anything since I've been away?" "No." "I keep telling you," said Molly, her voice shrill, "I'll never forgive you if you throw that talent away, and I mean it. I've done it. I can't stand watching you. I've messed with painting and dancing and acting and scribbling, and now—" "You're so talented, Anna. Why? I simply don't understand." "How can I ever say why when you're always so bitter and accusing?" Molly even had tears in her eyes, which were fastened in the most painful reproach on her friend. She brought out, with difficulty, "At the back of my mind I always thought, well, I'll get married, so it doesn't matter wasting all the talents I was born with. Until recently I was even dreaming about having more children. Yes, I know it's idiotic, but it's true. And now I'm 40, and Tommy's grown up. But the point is, if you're not writing simply because you're thinking about getting married—" "But we both want to get married," said Anna, making it humorous. The tone restored reserve to the conversation. She had understood, with pain, that she was not after all going to be able to discuss certain subjects with Molly. Molly smiled, dry, but gave her friend an acute, bitter look, and said, "All right, but you'll be sorry later." "Sorry?" said Anna, laughing out of surprise. "Molly, why is it you'll never believe other people have the disabilities you have? You were lucky enough to be given one talent and not 4. Perhaps my one talent has had as much pressure on it as your 4. I can't talk to you in this mood. Shall I make you some tea while we're waiting for Richard?" "I'd rather have beer or something," she added, provocative. "I've been thinking I might very well take to drink later on." Molly said, in the older sister's tone Anna had invited, "You shouldn't make jokes, Anna. Not when you see what it does to people. Look at Marion. I wonder if she's been drinking while I was away. I can tell you she has, yes. She came to see me several times." "She came to see you?" "That's what I was leading up to when I said you and I seemed to be interchangeable." Molly tended to be possessive. She showed resentment, as Anna had known she would, as she said, "I suppose you're going to say Richard came to see you too." Anna nodded, and Molly said briskly, "I'll get us some beer." She returned from the kitchen with 2 long, cold-beaded glasses and said, "Well, you'd better tell me all about it before Richard comes, hadn't you?" Richard was Molly's husband, or rather he had been her husband. Molly was a product of what she referred to as one of those 20s marriages. Her mother and father had both glittered, but briefly, in the intellectual and bohemian circles that had spun around the great central lights of Huxley, Lawrence, Joyce, etc. Her childhood had been disastrous, since this marriage only lasted a few months. She had married